The Bible presents two contrasting visions of city building: God's plan for a city where he dwells with his people, and humanity's prideful attempts to create cities for their own glory. This tension is established early in Genesis, where we see the idyllic Garden of Eden, a perfect space designed for communion with God, contrasted with Cain's city, built out of a desire for security and fame rather than worship. As Genesis 4:17 states, Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Enoch. When he built a city, he named it after his son Enoch. This act, seemingly innocuous, represents the beginning of humanity's misguided efforts to create their own spaces apart from God's design. This culminates in the Tower of Babel, described in Genesis 11:4. Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves. Otherwise we will be scattered over the face of the whole earth." Babel epitomizes this rebellion against God, as its builders sought to reach heaven and make a name for themselves, rather than fulfilling God's command to be fruitful and increase in number and fill the earth. Genesis chapter 9:1. This Babylonian mindset, characterized by pride and self-reliance, persists throughout history, with people constantly trying to create societies independent of God. As Psalm 2:1 proclaims, "Why do the nations conspire and the peoples plot in vain?" In contrast, God chose Abram and his descendants to establish a different kind of community, one based on faith and obedience. God called Abram out of Ur, a city steeped in idolatry, and promised him, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing." Genesis chapter 12, 1-2. This marked a turning point, with God initiating a plan to establish his own dwelling place among his people. This promise found its fulfillment in Jerusalem, God's holy city, where he chose to place his name and his temple. As Psalm 132, 13-14 declares, "For the Lord has chosen Zion, he has desired it for his dwelling, saying, 'This is my resting place for ever and ever. Here I will sit enthroned, for I have desired it.'" The patriarchs, through their altars and acts of worship, prefigured this reality, pointing towards God's ultimate plan for a city where he would dwell with his people forever. This eschatological hope is beautifully expressed in the Psalms, where the longing for God's presence in his temple reflects the desire for eternal dwelling with him. "How lovely is your dwelling place, Lord Almighty! My soul yearns, even faints, for the courts of the Lord. My heart and my flesh cry out for the living God." Psalm 84, 1-2. This yearning for God's presence finds its ultimate fulfillment in the New Jerusalem, described in Revelation 21, 2-3. "I saw the holy city, the New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride beautifully dressed for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, 'Look, God's dwelling place is now among the people, and he will dwell with them. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God.'" This is the culmination of God's plan, a city where he reigns supreme and his people live in eternal communion with him.